સ્ટાર્ટ સર્વિસ આ રાખવું ઉપર કે જવા દઉં નીચે?
કંઈ વાંધો નહીં, નીચે જવા દો.
ઓકે સ્ટાર્ટ.
Yeah. So, good morning. Today we are going to discuss one more topic from your SEM 5 syllabus. As you know, there is distribution of marks in such a way that you have questions from the textbook, and you also have other topics. For example, in your SEM 5 syllabus, you have topic of modal auxiliary verbs. When you say modal auxiliary, there are two types of auxiliary verbs. One is primary and another is modal auxiliary. Then the next question would be, what do we mean by primary auxiliary? Then primary auxiliary verbs are the verbs which constitute sentences. For example, am, is, are, was, were, do, does, did, have, has, had. These are basic verbs without which you cannot form sentences, and that's why they are known as primary auxiliaries. Then apart from primary auxiliary verbs, we have modal auxiliary verbs. So when we talk about modal auxiliary, we have modal auxiliary verbs like can, could, shall, should, will, would, may, might, must, need, ought, dare. So these are modal auxiliary verbs. So they add something to the main verb, and that's why they are known as modal auxiliary verbs. So you have a topic of modal auxiliary verb which carries weightage of 10 marks. Then you have topic of press release. Now let me tell you, there is a difference between press release and press report. You might have heard of press reporters. Now, what do they do? Press reporters are the people who prepare news reports for incidents or any events, and those reports are published in newspapers, but they are paid people. That means they get paid by the newspapers. So that's why they are known as press reporters. Then there is something else called press release. Then what is press release? For example, there is an event in a college. That event could be a blood donation camp. That event could be a lecture of an expert on career opportunities in a particular field. When we think of these events, it's very important that we think of the media coverage that these events get, because whenever you do a good activity, you would want others to know. For example, if a blood donation camp had been organized in your institute, then you would definitely want the society to know that such an event had taken place in your organization. So what you do is, one of your staff members, that could be a teacher or anybody from the administrative office, would prepare a press release and that press release covers the main aspects of the event, like who were the people invited uh, for the event, what was the main focus of the event. So that becomes a kind of press release, and then that press release is sent to different newspapers, and then uh, sorry, then the concerned editor or sub-editor would go in for editing of these press release, and then finally they are printed. They are kind of given space in a newspaper. So that is press release. So again, that topic is of 10 marks. As far as our syllabus is concerned, we have to take into consideration two types of press release. One, educational, and number two, related to business. When we talk about educational events or topics related to education, uh, that could be uh, blood donation camp, that could be NSS camp, that could be job fair, uh, that could be any lecture by an expert on different aspects of studies, or uh, about some general topics of interest, like life skills, soft skills. So these are the topics which are generally given importance in educational uh, aspect of press release. Then you have something called business field. Now, what kind of topics you can expect? Then generally you have topics like uh, declaration of dividend by a particular company, uh, merger of two companies, acquisition of a company by another company. Uh, if any company is going to start a new business, then that also is a topic for press release. So these are some of the topics which are generally included in the section of press release. So you have press release. Then there is another topic that is called official mails and letters. Now, let me tell you in detail what do we mean by official mails and letters. There are situations in which we have to write letters or we have to send emails to respective authorities, drawing their attention to different issues. For example, you have the problem of stray dogs and stray cattle in your area, and you must have approached the concerned uh, office of municipal corporation regarding the menace of stray dogs in your area, but you have not been satisfied with the response. So now what you do is you wish to write a letter, or you wish to send, because these days writing a physical letter, then going to the post office or going to the courier's office um, to uh, to make sure that the letter reaches the person, It's a kind of very time taking process, it's very expensive, and there are all chances that your letter may not reach its destination. So the best way is to send an email, because if you search on the website of a particular organization, for example, if you wish to send an email to the municipal commissioner of Rajkot city, then you can easily find email of important officers, important um, persons in the website, and then you can send an email. So in this particular topic, we have to learn to draft official letters and draft emails which are to be sent to different offices. That could be the office of municipality, that could be the office of police commissioner, that could be collector of the city, that could be the engineer of telecommunication, because there are many issues which need attention from the concerned officer, and at times you try to approach people at the people working at the lower level, or working at the middle level, but then they may not be able to sort out the matter. So then you need to approach the higher authority. But many a times it's not easy to meet municipal commissioner, or easy to meet a police commissioner. So the best way is to write a letter, uh, and the modern way is to drop an email, because um, whenever you send an email, it just takes a couple of seconds, maybe fraction of seconds to uh, deliver the message. So you know that your message has reached, and you also have proof that you have sent an email, because uh, you can always show that so and so email was dropped on a particular date. So there is a record, and this record is also valid, because when you send an email, that becomes a kind of a documentary evidence or a proof. So um, nowadays it's very convenient to drop an email as compared to writing physical letter, um, because for that you need stationery like uh, letter pad, pen, envelope. Then you also need stamp if you want to send it through post office, or you will have to pay extra amount to the courier agency to um, deliver that particular letter to the destination. So if you want to avoid all these things, then the best way is to drop an email. So it's very important that you learn how to write official emails and how to write official letters. So uh, sending and receiving a letter have been a passion with human beings since time immemorial. We, the human beings, have always loved to receive a letter more than write it. So we always love to receive letters and to read letters. For most people, letter writing is one case in which it is better to receive than give. See, uh, the the tradition of writing letters is kind of uh, getting less popular day by day because of the popularity of internet, because of the popularity of emails. uh, in the past, we used to receive one or two letters almost every day through post, but now we hardly receive a letter in a fortnight or maybe in a month. So, but that doesn't mean uh, that the communication is not taking place. Communication is taking place, and on the contrary, the flow of communication has become kind of all the more um stronger. But then the channel that people are using, the medium that people are using, is that of internet, because internet is easy. If you want to send a kind of an informal message to your friend, then you can use platforms like WhatsApp or Instagram. And if you want to um, have the communication in an official way, then you can always send an email, drop an email on the official email ID of that particular person, because that person might have his or her personal email address, and then there is something called official email address. So make sure that you send an email on the official email address, so that it becomes a kind of documentary proof. So uh, communication is very important in the 21st century. When we talk about letters, we have two types of letters: personal letters and business letters. Now, what is the difference between the two? Personal letters do not have any fixed structure. That means uh, heading, inside address, salutation, date line, subject or reference line, complimentary close, and signature. Now, all these items are known as parts of a letter. When you think of a personal letter, it does not have heading, it does not have inside address, uh, even salutation is more informal. You don't have subject line or reference line in a personal letter, because all these items are not important in personal letters. But when it comes to business letters, you have a kind of fixed format, you have a kind of structure that you follow. So you have heading. Heading is the address of the sender of the letter. It also contains details like phone number, email address. Then you have date line. So date is a very important part. Date line is a very important part. There are two ways of writing date in a business letter. One is British method and another is American method. Now, what is the difference between the two? In British method, you have date, which is followed by month, and then it is followed by year. For example, today is 4th of August. So you have 4, then you have th, which is the suffix, and then you have 2021, 4th August 2021. So that nd, rd, st or th, that is suffix that you will put after date. So you have basically two types of numbers. One cardinal numbers and another ordinal numbers. Cardinal numbers, what is the difference between cardinal and ordinal? For example, we have numbers like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That is one variety of writing numbers. Another variety is first, second, third, fourth, fifth, like that. Now the first one, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, they are known as cardinal numbers, whereas the second one, first, so you have suffix st, second you have suffix nd, third you have suffix rd, and fourth you have suffix th. So wherever you have any of these four suffixes used after date, then it is ordinal number or British method. So you can write your date line using either of these methods. Then comes the inside address. So inside address is the address of the recipient of the letter. That means the person who is going to receive the letter. So that is recipient of the letter. Then you have salutation, dear sir, respected sir, or dear madam, whichever is the salutation appropriate. Then comes the subject line or reference line, and then you have the actual content of the letter presented in the body of the letter. So you have the first paragraph, second paragraph, third paragraph, and then you have complimentary clause like yours faithfully or yours sincerely, and then you have signature of the person who has written the letter or who has dictated the letter. Sometimes the officer dictates the letter and the typist types out the letter, but then at the end of the process, who is responsible for the content of the letter? Not the typist, but the person who has signed the letter. So signature is a very, very important part of any letter. But now when we are sending an email, that signature part is to be omitted, because you don't need to sign an email. Nowadays there is a possibility of having digital signature. So if you want to include digital signature in your official email, that's fine. You can always copy paste your digital signature in your email, but unless it is required, you can always omit that particular part. So official letter is a very important aspect of our syllabus. Now let us look at some of the occasions for writing official letters or emails. Write a letter to the bank manager complaining him about a wrong entry in your savings account statement. For example, you have come to know through your online access to your savings bank account that there is a wrong entry in your savings account statement. So you wish to draw the attention of the bank manager. So what you do is you write a letter addressed to the bank manager stating that you have discovered a wrong entry in your bank account statement, so that needs to be corrected. Second one is write a letter to the police commissioner about the harassment you are facing from some antisocial elements in your neighborhood. Many a times we have the problem of neighbors who are not good citizens, in the sense that they do not have the kind of civic sense, and they keep on harassing others. Now, instead of tolerating all these nuisance, what you do is you write an email or a letter to the police commissioner complaining about the harassment. Sorry. So there is an occasion in which you write a letter to the police commissioner. Next is write a letter to the postmaster general making an inquiry about various postal savings and insurance schemes. For example, you wish to invest money in postal saving schemes, or you want to go for postal insurance schemes. So you wish to know more about latest schemes offered by post office. So you write a letter to the postmaster general requesting him or her to send you the details. So that becomes an occasion for an official letter. Write a letter to the education minister suggesting him or her the steps to curb malpractices in exams. So you are writing an official letter or an email to the education minister drawing his or her attention to the problem of malpracticing in exams, and you have to make some suggestions. You want to make some suggestions about how to improve upon the situation, and that's why you write an email or a letter to the education minister. So write a letter to the education minister suggesting him or her the steps to curb malpractices in exam. Curb એટલે દાબી દેવું. Stop. Write a letter to the LIC branch manager for not having received receipt of the payment of your premium. You may have paid the premium, but you have not received the receipt of payment from the life insurance corporation. So you write an email or a letter to the accounts officer of a particular division or branch of life insurance corporation. Your area is passing through severe water crisis. Write a letter of complaint. So maybe you would want to write a letter of complaint to the concerned engineer of your ward, municipality ward, or you can even directly write to the city engineer, write to the deputy commissioner, municipal commissioner, or even the municipal commissioner. So here is an occasion. Next is the frequent power failures are causing troubles to students as their exams are due. Make a complaint to the PGVCL officer. So it's a very common phenomenon to have power cuts in your area, and you have observed that the exams are approaching. Students are preparing hard for the exams, but without electricity they won't be able to study at night, or they won't be able to concentrate on their studies. So you write a letter, or you send an email to the concerned officer looking after your area of electricity supply company. For example, if it is the region of Saurashtra, then it would be PGVCL, which is Paschim Gujarat Vij Corporation Limited. You have areas divided according to the geography. So you have Paschim Gujarat, then you have uh, Uttar Gujarat, South Gujarat uh, is also the word that they use for um, yeah. So you have PGVCL. Uh, so you wish to draw the attention of the officer of PGVCL about frequent power cuts in your area and uh, the trouble that the students face. Write a letter to the district development officer appreciating his development work in the district. So it's not just the complaint that is the focus of your official letter. If any officer is doing good work, then it's a nice practice to write a letter or drop an email appreciating the work of that particular officer. So you can always write such message of appreciation. So here you have come to know that the district development officer, that is DDO, if it is Tehsil, Taluka, then it would be TDO. So if you have come to know that the DDO of your district has done something good, has taken a new initiative, so you would want to appreciate that particular action. So you write a letter to the district development officer appreciating his development work in the district. Next is write a letter to district education officer asking his intervention to get an admission in a school. So there is a situation that you have been transferred to another city. I mean, you have been transferred to a city, and then you approach different schools for admissions of your son or daughter, but then you are not getting proper reply from the authorities. So what you do is you write an email or write a letter to the district education officer, that is DEO, drawing attention to the problem faced by you and how you would want it to be solved. That means you can ask the district education officer to help you get admission of your son or daughter in a school, because you are a government employee and you have been transferred to the city. So it's a kind of important it's a kind of an expectation from the school that they give you admission, because when you are working as a government employee, and if it is a kind of transferable job, then you get transferred to different cities. Then the most worrisome part is getting admission in schools, because when you move from one city to another, you always have this problem of getting admission in good schools. But then there is a provision that each school is expected to consider admissions of children of employees who are having transferable jobs. So you can always expect the district education officer to intervene, darmiyangiri karvi, and to help you secure admission in a good school. So that is what is your expectation. Next is draft a letter on behalf of the residents of Shastri Nagar requesting the municipal commissioner to provide a swimming pool and gym in the area. As a resident of a particular society, uh, you are writing a letter to the municipal commissioner requesting the commissioner to provide facilities like swimming pool and gym uh, to the residents of your particular society. So that becomes another occasion for official letter. So these are some of the occasions for which we have to write letters. So next time when we meet on this platform, we'll discuss in detail about how to draft these letters.